Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and Tech Advice.live TV video interview. I'm here today at the Legrand facility in Sydney, one of a number that are in Australia and also around the world. And I'm here today with Palash Nandy. He's the CEO of Legrand Australia and New Zealand, which is a global specialist in electrical and digital building infrastructure, offering solutions for residential, commercial and industrial markets, and focuses on improving lives through innovative and sustainable solutions. So welcome to Tech Advice.live TV.
Thank you, Alex, for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time. I just had an excellent tour of the factory floor, which we'll speak about. But Palash, can you please just give us a bit more detail on Legrand Australia, the brands that you have on offer, and the solutions, and just a bit more about this incredible facility.
My pleasure. So Legrand is as the name suggests, it's a French global firm. We are roughly around 8.4 billion euros in terms of size, 38,000 people present all across the world. Australia, we came more than 30 years back. So it's been here for more than 3 decades now.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, our businesses have increased. So today we are roughly around 200 million in terms of revenue, 200 million Australian dollars. We've got around 500 people across both sides of the ditch. In Australia, we have around 300 people, 200 of whom work in this facility. And in terms of product offer, we've got roughly around 22,000 SKUs that we sell here. And close to 14 or 15,000 of those SKUs are manufactured right here.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I had a factory tour, and a lot of the machines are actually creating the technology right here. I've got to come back and do a proper filmed tour because it's just so spectacular to see local manufacturing. If you think it's all made in China, it's not.
Correct. So 40% of the revenue that we do is out of products that are manufactured in Australia. So we are quite bullish about our local manufacturing footprint, and we are constantly investing to increase this footprint.
Yeah. And you were showing me, or Daniel was showing me some of the areas where you had a number of people in individual stations, and that's now been automated, and the production and the quality and the productivity has been increased dramatically by having effectively robots, automated manufacturing, some of which, most of which has been customized by you. You can't just buy this stuff off the shelf. It's specifically
so
made.
we are paying a lot of focus on Industry 4.0 because this is, we strongly believe, is the way going ahead. Not just only in terms of efficiency, but it is also in terms of maintaining the consistency of the quality, because this is something that the Legrand brand has got a lot of value for. So yes, Industry 4.0 is something that we are constantly looking at investing more and more on.
Sure, and I was saying that there's a lot of recycling of bits of plastic. It can be remelted down and reused. So the environmental aspect is of prime concern to Legrand as well.
Correct. So this is, we have a roadmap which we call as a CSR roadmap. We are on the 5th roadmap. Each roadmap is for a period of 4 years, so which means for the last 20 years we are on this roadmap. And a big part of the roadmap is how sustainable we can be. So just to give you a few flavor, 30% of the plastic that we use in manufacturing is recycled. 40% of the metal that we use is recycled material. 70% of the electricity that we use is renewable, and this next year would become 100%. We are reducing our consumption of electricity by 20% compared to 22, even if our volumes have gone up.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of effort. Packaging, as an example, we have a new interesting roadmap of sustainable packaging. Less is more is the idea. In terms of the way we design products, we call it eco-design. So the weight of the products have to be less. It has to be more sustainable, more energy efficient, etc., etc. So yes, sustainability is a big pillar of ours.
And I mean, I love technological evolution and progress, and this is just another example of that in action.
Correct.
Why waste resources when you don't need to? Now, you're also one of the sponsors of the block, I understand, for the second year running, and the block, of course, is in its 20th season. So just tell us about this partnership and some of the Legrand products and services that you expect to see in the show.
So as you said that we are in the second year of the block, so we have got around 5 apartments that are getting redone, plus some common area. And since we are very strong on the residential segment, we thought that this is a good opportunity to showcase what all we can do.
Yeah.
So whatever is needed in a house, whether it is simple switches or sockets or smart home products or door entry or power or
Lighting.
protection, lighting, and for common areas, your exit signages, etc. So we are providing all of that. And it would be interesting to see how the designers are playing with that,
Yeah.
and how do they offer an interesting solution to the customers.
Yeah, and also to the renovators who are deciding what to put where. And,
Absolutely.
I'm sure they're going to think of things that will surprise you, hopefully delight you.
Absolutely.
And for those wondering, The Block is a renovation show in Australia. 1.3 million viewers per episode, which is big numbers in Australia. I mean, I'm sure this gets sold internationally on different networks, but it's really going to be a fantastic showcase. For the brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are quite excited about it.
Well, you wouldn't have gone for a second year if you weren't happy. So.
Absolutely.
Now, also we have AI that's better and smarter than ever before. I don't know how much AI you can put into individual switches, but how are you using AI to, do better manufacturing, better customer service? I mean, in those industrial aspects of AI.
So for us, AI has got, let's say, different usages. So as I was, or as Daniel was telling you a little while back, that we have tied up with Microsoft globally, and to use the Copilot, which for us is called Colleague.
Which you were telling me is part of Copilot and Legrand, so collègue,
Absolutely.
which is also the French word for colleague,
Correct.
which is an English word too.
Absolutely. So we've partnered with Microsoft, and what we are trying to do is many things. First of all, that how can we use AI in our everyday operations? So how can we automate all the routine operations so that people can be utilized in more value-added work,
More productive
rather
ways.
than
Repetitive grunt work.
repetitive.
Yeah.
So AI is getting used there a lot. A lot of usage is happening in terms of data and data analytics, the
Yeah.
big data analytics. So it saves a lot of time. Even in simple stuff like when you're having meetings, to use Colleague to take all your meeting notes and to give you a summary and stuff like that. So there is a lot of usage of that we are doing, which is to run your everyday operations.
Yeah. And AI, as we know it, this generative AI, is not even 2 years old yet. So I mean,
Absolutely.
we're all learning together how to,
Absolutely.
all the use cases, and I'm sure you're discovering new ways to use it on a regular basis.
Then it is getting used in terms of designing of products. Then we are also using it in many places across the world into the product itself. Like, for example, can I use AI to do predictive maintenance? So, we sell UPSs a lot across the world. UPSs require repetitive maintenance. Can I use AI to predict the problem rather than, and therefore proactively solve it?
Yeah.
Rather than wait for the problem to happen and then solve it. So there are usage cases like these that is getting worked on across the world.
Yeah.
On the other hand, last bit is that we also see AI as a big business opportunity. Data centers is a very, very key segment for us.
And not just residential.
Exactly. And therefore, more and more AI is meaning that the data center world is changing, and changing rapidly. It's becoming much more dense in terms of usage of power, etc. And this gives us a business opportunity because it's bang in the center of our business strategy. So it is beneficial for running the operation, designing products, implementing changes in the products, but also a very good business opportunity.
I'm sure Microsoft would love to have you as a wonderful case study of all the different ways you're using it. And that's how every business should be taking advantage of the benefits that AI brings. They can really make a material. It's not just the robots that can, automate what took 6 people before. It's, the business side of things,
Absolutely.
which you've described. So.
And what we see that we need not necessarily make AI as a big, how should I say, big beast.
Yeah.
Okay. At the end of the day, as you were telling us, that
It's a co-worker, it's a helper.
co-worker, it's an assistant, and many a times we forget to use what I call as CS technology,
What's that?
which is common sense.
I like to joke that we have OI, organic intelligence. Sometimes we forget to use it.
Correct. So if you use this, it's a very good assistant.
Yeah. And just talking about the industrial side of things, I mean, Legrand isn't just residential. You've recently acquired Mechanical Support Systems, or MSS, in New Zealand, and VASS, or VAS, I'm sure, Electrical Industries in Australia. And you've done this to strengthen and widen your portfolio and enhance local manufacturing. We'll talk about manufacturing in a moment. But how do these acquisitions help the business and industrial side of Legrand? And well, here it is. What does this say about your commitment to local manufacturing?
So 2 or 3 things. First, globally, Legrand gets 40% of its revenue from residential,
Yeah.
which tells you that 60% of the revenue comes from non-resi, which was not the case in Australia. So therefore, one of our objectives was to balance this equation more. And therefore, we have been focusing on the non-residential segment for quite a few years now, organically. And then when these opportunities emerged, we decided to take, let's say, these opportunities on board. And MSS, for example, is very strong in the non-residential segment, and especially within data centers in New Zealand.
Which is, as you were just saying, growing area, all the AI
Absolutely.
chips, everything.
So it's a big focus for us globally, data centers. Data centers is roughly 30% of the revenue of Legrand. So MSS gave us this opportunity to get into that territory very quickly, and the product is very complementary to what we do.
Yeah.
Then in terms of us, it was again the same story. 50% of the revenue comes from data centers, 50% from non-residential, other industry, logistics, solar farms, etc. So again, it was a good opportunity and a good complement to our. And on top of that, the added benefit was that these two also gave us access to more local manufacturing, and this fits in very well with our strategy of increasing local manufacturing.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I mean, we had this show floor tour, and I mean, it's just incredible the amount of precision machines in so many different areas, whether it's metal, plastic, the actual manufacture of little switches with tiny little screws and testing of the buttons. I mean, this is a powerhouse. It's a showcase. What else do we need to know about Legrand that I haven't already asked that the audience should know?
Well, as I said earlier, that Legrand is a global firm and growing very well. A very, very healthy organization. We have a very healthy 20% plus EBIT. This allows us to reinvest back into the organization. So we believe in this simple philosophy that you make good margins, reinvest that margins into the organization, whether in developing products, R&D, development of people, development of facilities, technology, etc. And that allows you to grow more and become stronger, which allows you to get more margins. So this is a very virtuous cycle.
Continuous improvement.
And this is where we are constantly focusing on, is that how can I add value to customers? We are not here to just sell a product. Okay? We are here to make a difference to the customers' lives, which is why we say that the purpose of our business is improving lives. Okay? And if we are unable to do that, then we are not really serving the purpose of doing business.
Yeah.
And this is something that has helped us a lot across the world, including in Australia and New Zealand. As I said, at a time that people have a doubt about local manufacturing in Australia, we are investing a lot in this space, and in the coming days you will again see a lot of demonstration of this investment in local manufacturing. So we are quite bullish about the Australian and New Zealand market, which is also the reason why we are investing so much here.
And it just adds to the Legrand's ability to manufacture globally in lots of different territories, and also localize for where necessary.
So we call ourselves a global company. We are a global as an organization. but very local in our approach. So therefore, we call ourselves as local.
Yeah, I think I've heard that somewhere once before, but it's very appropriate. So how do you see Legrand evolving over the next year through to the end of the decade, in a nutshell?
We will continue to grow.
I guess continue to improve the processes here and add new technologies,
Absolutely.
use AI in new ways.
So for us, everything starts from, let's say, growth.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this two engine of growth, as we call it. One is organically through innovation, and which is where we invest a lot. 5% of our global revenue is invested in R&D every year. So it's a healthy amount, 8.4%, 8.4 billion. 5% of that is
Billion with a B.
One side it's this, the other side is growth through acquisitions. So the example of MSS and VAS here. But just to give an example, this year itself, till date, we've done acquisitions across the world totaling to 200 million euros. So we are very active on this space. So our future going ahead is growth, and the growth is going to come from satisfying customer needs, okay, whether the stated needs or the unstated needs. And we will constantly keep on using technology to try and see how we can do our jobs better, how use process to ensure that we are very efficient. And one very important distinguishing factor for us is that we don't want technology to overwhelm people. We want technology to be an enabler for people.
Yeah, it can't be tech for tech's sake. Tech
Absolutely.
succeeds when it's invisible. You just hit the button, or you walk in the room and it comes on. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I cannot make your life easier
Yeah.
by using technology, then
Back to the drawing board.
I haven't made the good use of technology.
Yeah. Well, that's-
This has been a focus, and this is the simple things that we do. This is what makes a big difference at the marketplace, and that is why we are so confident about the growth ahead.
And one of the things that I always think about when I talk about this is that your customers are your greatest R&D resource as well. They must come to you, globally with ideas, pain points. Oh, help us make this, help us make that.
Absolutely.
And that's always
Absolutely.
exciting too, because the customers come to you with ideas.
Absolutely. And we have this, whenever we are designing products, okay, we have this philosophy, if I may say so, called listen, design, make, support. Okay. That if I cannot be outside in my designing, then one thing is certain, that my design is not good. Okay. So listen first, okay, to the customer, then design it, then make it as per the design that you've done, and then support it throughout its life cycle. So it's simple, but so very effective in helping us to do our job better.
Yeah, because the sale as such doesn't end when you've shipped a product. You've got to support it, and that's just an ongoing process. Now, one of the questions I like to ask as we get towards the end of the interview is to ask if you could please share a memory of your first personal computer.
That was a long time back. So I still remember those days. I was in India, in a city called Calcutta on the east side of India, and we just had one desktop in our office.
Windows, DOS?
DOS.
DOS, yeah.
Okay,
Does that came before Windows? Young people wouldn't know.
And we had to learn Lotus 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Wow. So all those people who say that Excel is complicated, you had no idea.
Yeah, now you can use AI to do it all for you, right?
Absolutely.
In Office 365.
So I still remember, since we had only one desktop, so it was time was rationed.
I was going to say time sharing, yeah.
And for us as sales guys, I was a sales guy at that time. For us as sales guys, we had to come on Saturday, which was a holiday, to come and do our sales MIS reports. So I have this memory of having to go on a Saturday to the office to do sales MIS on Lotus 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And now we have so much power in our computers, in our hands. We don't, appreciate it. Especially if you weren't alive when all those computers with the green screens, no mouse, keyboard shortcuts was all standard. And my second last question is to ask if you could please share some of the best advice that you've received in life to help you get where you are today.
So I've been fortunate in terms of getting a lot of mentors during my professional career. So have received many good advices, but I remember two very very distinctly because it is imprinted in my head.
Yeah.
So one which said that you have to be very comfortable with the fact that you don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
No matter whichever position you are in, you will not have all the answers, and you have to be comfortable with the fact that you don't have all the answers, which allows you to then learn from everybody. Okay, from whether people at your level, above you, below you, anywhere. So this is something that has helped me a lot in terms of growing, because when you're ready to learn from everywhere, knowledge is everywhere. And the other thing, that when I was just about to get into the role of a leader, somebody had told me that the main job of a leader is to manufacture more leaders.
That's very good.
So these are the two things that is imprinted in my head. So for me as a leader, I'm running the organization, revenue, bottom line, these are all, okay, it's part of the job, but the main job is to manufacture more leaders.
So you've been in manufacturing for a long, long time.
Yes.
Palash, so what is your final message to the viewers and the readers?
Final message to the viewers and the readers is to help us, to keep us on our toes. Demand the very best from organizations like us. As I said, demand the best of the technology, but not technology to overwhelm you, but technology to simplify your life. And encourage organizations that do local manufacturing and are responsible organizations. That's all is my request from all of you, because that gives us the strength to do more, let's say, in a more organized manner, a more efficient manner, what we are doing today.
And don't forget to check out the blog to see some of Legrand's
Absolutely.
products and services in action. Well, Palash Nandy, CEO of Legrand Australia and New Zealand, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the tour. It's been fascinating and eye-opening. There's some people I know in robotics. I'd love to introduce them to everything you've got here, because they'd be fascinated. And I hope we can speak again in the future.
Absolutely, and thank you for coming here, Alex. It
Thank
was
you.
very nice to have this interaction with you.
Likewise, thank you. See you later.